Alrighty, let's move on to One Piece. 1096. A forbidden piece of history. A theory concerning a kingdom. And basically, after Vegapunk Shaka stops S Shark from attacking the Straw Hats, he tells them a theory about a kingdom and 100-year void. And we finally get to meet the real Dr. Vegapunk. And first off, like me and Bass was having a discussion last week about what Shaka really meant when he was talking about the kingdom from 900 years ago. And it turns out that it was actually what I was kind of talking about. There was actually another island that he had found or that he had
Hmm.
known of from 900 years ago. So I thought that was pretty like uh I didn't really know for sure. Even though I read the manga, like this kind of stuff doesn't really stick with me, I guess you
Right.
could say.
That's very specific. That's
Yeah.
wording. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but so it was kind of like a toss up between me and Bass at that point about what we both perceived it as, I guess. So it's good for them to clarify that because we sure didn't really 100% know what was really going on. So
No, no, definitely did not 100% understand what was going on. But yeah, I think it's cool that like we're actually getting some more of this 100-year dark the void period. Like
yes,
this is the stuff I really like. Of course I like the fighting and Luffy, like Gear 5 and shit like that. That's cool. But Oda has laid out so many of these like breadcrumbs, and I've been watching this show so long that like some of this stuff is starting to come to a head or it's coming back and like we actually get to talk about it again and learn more. Like, this is what I'm here for. Like, this is a journey. Like, this is an epic story to me.
yeah, and it's fun to see that, just like you said, and his Shaka's theory is that 900 years ago, the 20 kingdoms joined up and defeated an advanced kingdom, not Egghead, the kingdom that Shaka was referring to, that they have not been able to meet the same standards of that kingdom yet. And then after that, they basically created the world government and erased that kingdom from history, and that is what we call the void century because they basically erased everything in that 100-year span from history, and it is forbidden knowledge now. Is basically what he was telling the Straw Hats, and this is one of the reasons why O'Hara was destroyed. Because Dr. Clover gained the knowledge, he put it together and figured out kind of what was going on in the Void Century and the Advanced Kingdom and all that stuff. And for y'all that don't know, O'Hara is, Robin's birthplace. It's the what is it, the land of the scholars or the island of scholars or
The
what?
Island of
So
Scholars, yeah.
yeah. And so, like, what are your thoughts on Shaka's theory?
I think it makes sense, but just because he's calling it a theory, I think there's parts that are not correct. I don't see why they would give us all this information right now and still call it a theory. So I think most of it's probably true. I think that the kingdom was erased. We've heard Dr. Clover say that before, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chapters ago, or episodes ago. But I think maybe like the specifics about what happened, they were defeated by the other 20 or something like that. Like some of that more detailed stuff could be wrong.
Yeah, because they don't really know about it like Dr. Clover did, and he was just barely, I think, grasping at what it actually was, and I think they barely got like so many percentages of what he was grasping at, right?
Right, right.
Because like a good proportion of it was obviously destroyed in the O'Hara Buster call. Um,
Exactly.
so we don't really know. We just know some of it, and I guess they're kind of piecing it together and stuff like that. So I guess that's kind of why it's a theory. Um, and Dr. Clover also thought that the world government was more afraid of the ideology of this past civilization, And like, what do you think that could be? Like, could it be related to Luffy's dream or like Luffy and like the pirates in general?
I think it's like I think it's like to me like I think it's almost 100% that it's like that's part of Luffy's dream, whatever the ideology is, or whatever the civilization was like. Because I think Luffy's dream is so ridiculous that that's why people laugh when they hear it, or his crew laugh when they heard it. It's like that's it, that's really it.
Yeah.
And I think it has something like about being free, and like everybody's completely free, um, in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, there's just some got to be some shit behind that for it to have like this big of an impact for this long of a story. But I think it has something to do with that.
Yeah, I think so too. I do think it has it's some stupid thing that only Luffy could cook up about freedom, from the government or whatever. Because the government is crooked, that we know um
Hmm.
of. So because I guess the celestial dragons like are like they are wrong mostly. So uh
Yeah.
but it's definitely like I don't know. It's fun to see all this like coming around and talking about it again because these are the gray areas and I feel like we're on the verge of knowing kind of what Oda's cooking up, but and then so much stuff is going to make sense from the past, right? So
Yes. Yeah. Like I mean, like I was saying, like we have all these puzzle pieces, and like I'm patient. Obviously, I'm patient. We're almost to
yeah.
1,100 episodes, but like I think everybody's like this. At least is anime only. Like is ready for like some of the pieces to fall together.
Yeah, and I will say that like the ideals of civilization that far advanced or whatever and I guess strong enough to I get almost take on 20 kingdoms or
Hmm.
whatever like that the ideology behind that has to be scary for the world government now. So they would want to keep that under wraps too. And I think like we're saying, I think their ideology is somewhat similar to Luffy's. That's why they're having such a strong reaction to Luffy, especially in his new gear state. So,
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
but speaking of like what we've seen on O'Hara, we actually get to see that some of the books of the O'Hara library was saved by being thrown in the lake, and the dragon and the Revolutionary Army was the ones that actually pulled up on the island after all that happened and found the books. Right about the same time that Vegapunk actually pulled up on the island. So
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting, right?
I thought that was pretty cool. That we got some like interaction with those two. Um, and but this was huge, right? Like a lot of this episode was like it's like 80% of it was like recap. Like we've seen O'Hara get destroyed. I don't know how many times at this point, but many times. But it was good to get some new information out of the same old dragged out event of O'Hara getting destroyed.
Yeah.
We know the book survived. I had always remembered that they were throwing them in the water in the lake, but like, did anybody ever go get them? Did they do that? Was it futile? But now we know Dragon and the Revolutionary Army actually pulled them out of the lake, and whatever those scholars and archaeologists were looking for and I had found, Dragon knows that now, which is
Yeah,
cool.
well, most of it, probably a good
I mean,
percentage
most
of
of it,
it. Um,
yeah.
I wonder like how much like
Dragon knows enough.
water damage like you would think that the books like received some type of water damage, right? And was kind of unreadable, some of it, right? So
I'm sure. Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm definitely sure. But like, I think Dragon is going to know enough to put it together.
Yeah, because that I mean that's his whole goal is to topple the government, I guess, because he is the leader of the Revolutionary Army. That his
Hmm.
ideals probably line up, with Luffy's and the Advanced Kingdom or whatever. If you had to guess, probably.
Yeah,
So
Luffy's got freedom in his blood.
yeah, pretty much. Uh, but yeah, it was fun seeing that. And Doctor Vegapunk, he was there because he wanted to pay his respects. I think to his good friend Doctor Clover. They was good friends, RL. So, that's the reason why he was there, and he just happened to see Dragon, um,
Hmm.
doing his thing. And I don't know how many episodes ago this was, but we actually see Vegapunk talking to Dragon and discussing like he thinks that he's going to die in the future or whatever Vegapunk is and all that stuff. And I was kind of wondering how that relationship got established. And now we know it actually got established, I assume, on the island of O'Hara. So,
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. They both come in to pay their respects for the same person. It's like, oh, like you were probably a like-minded person if you knew this guy,
yeah.
and you're probably a truth seeker like I am if you know this guy, and are willing to come here right after this place is destroyed, and who would really want to come here otherwise. Um, but yeah, I think they probably have a very strong bond at this point, so it's really cool.
Yeah.
Luffy's working towards more global ambitions and getting closer to his father. We've met Dr. Vegapunk in this episode, finally. So yeah, this it's heating up. It's heating
the,
up.
the real Dr. Vegapunk. Uh,
Yeah.
and like we actually get to see Luffy and Chopper combine. They do their little combination thing, and just basically pisses off Bonnie, because they're trying to get into the big robot that they found from uh, who knows where in the dump or whatever. And then we actually get to see, like Bass said, the real Dr. Vegapunk. And he has like an apple on the top of his head. But in the flashback, like of him on O'Hara,
Hmm.
he had a very tall and large head. And so, like, I want to know from Bass, who hasn't like read the manga and stuff, like, what is your first opinion of him and like of him on O'Hara and him now on like the future island?
So
What?
like he had that big ass head, that million head. Um and now it's an apple on the top of his head. So like he did something with that brain. Maybe that's how he split up his personalities. Like I don't know.
Okay.
Um I don't really know how he controls them or like how they're still Dr. Vegapunk. Um but yeah, maybe he kept like his main self and like the main brain. And like he gave them bits of the brain. I don't know because that's a lot of freaking forehead space just to like go somewhere, you know? So that's what I think. And I like he's a lot goofier than what I thought he'd be. I knew he'd be
Well,
like a little eccentric because like typically that's how they make super smart people in like different types of shows. I think like especially anime, they're like a little crazy. But the boy is wacky.
and I don't. I think that his tongue hanging down to his knees, doesn't help that perception of him.
Oh
So,
no. Oh, definitely not. You know his mouth dry.
yeah. Like I just like I don't understand why Oda drew him or like created him to be like that. That's just Oda doing Oda shit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, like why? I mean, why does
Yeah.
Oda make
So
anybody how he makes them? Like
it's just
everybody's just so different. So many
it's
different
just
races of people
weird.
in this show.
The whole
But
tongue thing, it just threw me off guard from the first time I seen him. Even now, like it's just even more crazy.
I
So
think he's like trying to make him as unserious as possible.
okay, I feel that.
Like he's
And
lanky, like he's got a long tongue that sticks out of his mouth. Like he has an apple for the top half of his head. Like, yeah, like I think he's just trying to make him as ridiculous looking as possible while
Okay.
being human, like a normal human. Because I mean, we've seen Oda do some crazy shit with designs as far as people
Yeah.
go.
And obviously, like, I can't really get into uh what I think about Vegapunk too much because this is part of the stuff that I do remember.
Nah,
And
well, aren't you cool?
tragic, So that's why I wanted to hear from you what your first impressions of him was, because it's definitely an odd thing to see on your TV screen when you're not expecting it. So
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever like in shock when I'm
with
watching One
Oda.
Piece anymore. Yeah, like there's people with two sets of elbows, like they're like Big Mom, Cracker, like there's people made out of mochi. Like you can't.
Now you got
The
Looney Tunes. So
there's a lady with three eyes. Like there's so many different people. There's a
yeah.
guy. They get the Lunarians. Like yeah. Like you can't unfazed at this point. Unfazed. A tongue that's not gonna do much for me at this point.
A tongue with an apple on their head. Yeah. Okay.
He fits in, if anything.
Well, that was a pretty short One Piece week, but that's about all we got. Just basically recap. You got anything else you want to add for One Piece, Bass?
That is it for me, my friend.